It's not beer pong. It's not cornhole. It's PopDarts. And it's taking over the sports world one suction cup at a time. From ESPN's Top 10 to your living room table, this is What's Poppin', the most satisfying sports podcast in the world with Mr. T and the commish. The game, the players, the wild moments you can't script, and the laughter that comes with it. Two guys, one league, zero filter. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of What's Poppin' with Mr. T and the commish. We got a great episode today. If you didn't see last week's episode, go check it out. It's fantastic. We had Josh, one of the CEO, the co-founder of PopDarts, and just a great interview, so go check that out. Today, we are going to get into the players versus the league and who has what roles, what is expected from players, what is expected from leagues, the organizers, everybody. We're going to jump right in, and nobody knows more about this than the man himself, the commish. So we are going to be grilling him on some stuff. I'm going to chime in when I've got an answer, but let's get into it. How you doing, commish?
It's a great day, and I'm having a great day. And these episodes these ones coming up get me kind of excited. So we've towed a pretty good, pretty neutral line, through a lot of our episodes. And I think some of these, not that we're not, but the opinions are going to vary greatly. And we're going to start to get to some topics where I don't know that I think there's a right answer. You're going to have what you believe is the right answer. But when you get to topics where the opinions can vary, it can be controversial. So I don't think that anything we're saying is mean or meant to be, in that way. But there's going to be some, conversations, and some of these questions we were looking at are pretty controversial. So
Nothing meant to be harmful to anybody in particular, but facts are facts, and we just got to throw the rules out and got to have rules. So we'll get into that too.
So speaking of that, so when this episode airs, we will have had our first ESPN filming, which is very exciting, with more to come. So those of you that don't know, there's going to be 4 ESPN filmings for this season. What I can share with you guys is the 3 of them are, there's going to be what they call an East Coast wild card. There's going to be a West Coast wild card. And then there's going to be what everybody knows and loves as the national championship. So what's really cool about these, I call them wild cards, or these episodes, is they're 2 hours in length on ESPN Plus. That's going to be amazing. We have 3 matches on ESPN last year, that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So 3 matches
in an hour.
These other ones are going to have 7, so there'll be a lot more pop darts, a lot more darts being thrown. They are going to involve 8 players, 8 of the best players from the East Coast and West Coast that are coming together to compete for a shot at getting on the stage at nationals. So there's a lot on the line. These players are fantastic. They're ready. And I think these episodes are not going to fail to entertain. They are going to be
incredible.
Yes. So that's kind of our update. The only other update is fresh off the press. If you guys, we got our Dragon Hawk tee came out. So
that is sick.
I was excited about the, I got to make one and wear one. I was like, I'm wearing it for sure. Like it's made, it's ready. It's time to go. So those will be available on the APL site to buy if you guys want to get in. The only issue you're going to have is explaining it to people, because I still have people like, so what instrument do you play? That's what they asked me. We don't.
Oh, yeah.
You're saying.
Lindsay asked me the thing. I'm lead vocals.
Yeah, I said like,
we can both be lead vocals.
Yeah, we both are vocals, but we don't sing. So like, that's the band, and they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, oh, welcome to Dragon Hawk. That'll get you there.
Exactly.
All right.
Are you ready to jump into some questions?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's let's jump in and get our feet wet and see where it takes us here.
All right. All right. I'll throw one at you first.
All right.
So let's see. We're getting right into it. What does a league owe its players beyond just running tournaments?
I think a lot. And I
Mhm.
don't think that nobody that knows me knows I don't believe that the league does owe a lot to the players. I think the league it owes them opportunity. It owes them the ability to progress their game and grow their game in a fair
Right.
manner. So I think it does owe the players a lot. I think uh, the fun part of the league or the sustainability of the league, I think, is also important. So making sure that the league can self-sustain and grow, because growing something that can't last or can't sustain is a disservice to those playing in the sport and getting excited about
Right.
the sport. So uh, the short answer to that is I think the league owes the players a lot, and I don't think I've ever kind of shied away from that, that fact. But there's also, I guess, the counter to that would be the reality of the situation. Money doesn't grow on trees. Keeping things affordable in today's day and age means that you can't give everybody everything they want, at all times. So
Right.
that's kind of that flip side. But
Sure.
my summary to that is a lot. I do. I think the league owes its players, quite a bit. So
And not only that, but the players owe the league too. The players don't exist without the league, and the league doesn't exist without the players. So it's a reciprocal transaction where the players have to get in there and do their part too to keep the league running the way it is. Now, the responsibility of the league may be a little greater, but the players are right there with us too. We got to have them.
So I'll spin that back. That's a great transition. So here's a question here, kind of aimed towards players. If a player loves a sport, they play it all the time, but they're not bringing anybody new in. They never invite any friends to come play it, and it's a new sport like ours. Are they helping the sport grow? Are they responsible for helping the sport grow?
Well, that's two different questions. Are they helping it grow? They're not helping it grow that way. If we want to get this sport to grow, just share it with your friends. I'm not going to say that we share it. We always have them at every family event. We always bring them out. But, as far as, going out and just throwing them randomly, we don't do that much. But we get on the social media. If you can't get out with your friends, throw some posts on social media, share it with your friends, because it's addicting to watch online. It's so fun to watch once, you're just waiting for that pop, and that's that hook. And once you get that, you get hooked, and you just keep watching them. And then it's only $35 for a set of darts to be able to play with you and a friend. There's not too many sports you can get into, or hobbies or games you can get into for that kind of price. Obviously there's upgrades once you get into the boards and the tables, but for $35 you can competitively play pop darts.
Yeah. And for those of you that are all worried about the tables, I say this probably on repeat, but the number one ranked player in the world does not own a table, guys. He plays on his countertop. So
Yep.
there's a lot of different ways to make that work and to make that, possibility. In terms of my thoughts on it, yeah, you're not helping the league grow. Is it your responsibility? I'll say no, but I'll also follow
Right.
that up with, then you lose the ability to gripe. Like, you don't get to
Sure.
complain, if you're not out there growing the league and actually putting active steps into growing the league, then as a player, you really truly lose the opportunity to gripe and to look at a league and say, well, you're not doing your job, when, you turn around and look at a player that hasn't brought one player, wasn't one person into a league. So you don't grow by
Right.
thousands by, not having, a player add a player. You got to grow by one before you can grow by 1,000. So that would be my kind of
Exactly.
quick take on whether it's their responsibility. I would say no.
Sure.
But dot dot dot.
Right. Yeah, but let's get into the next one. So if players are paying entry fees, should they expect a professional level experience? What should they expect from being required to pay an entry fee?
Yeah, and I would think this is going to be. I'm going to answer it in multiple I guess, phases, but it depends on where you're
Okay.
going and what you're doing. So you go to a local, and it's going to very much depend on that organizer and that local. You know, some locals get sponsors and have great payouts and great, experiences. Some are just small. Some are just getting together, and I don't think that makes it better or worse. I went to one up in central Wisconsin. They're brand new. They got one table, and then the one they made themselves. It was an awesome tournament, and it was so much fun at their venue. You don't need lines of professional tables and a heck of a you don't need an MC and all this kind of stuff going on to have a fantastic local tournament. So, right. Should they expect, professional where, somebody greets you at the door and everything's announced? No, but as you move up and as you, as a player, progress, and I think this is kind of how the league is designed, is when you've earned, your way to things like conferences and conference, meets and conference tournaments, and then up to like a regional or, even further up on the ESPN or the national stage. Yeah, you're going to see that level of professionalism rise as the level of the players rises, along with it, and the level of the competition rises. So yeah, I think in terms of them being polite, organized, that piece, I think that players should expect that. I really do. And I think organizers do a pretty good job. I'll kind of talk, a little bit for those organizers. I think they do a nice job of putting on an experience. And I just wanted to kind of clarify that doesn't necessarily mean top of the line tables or top of the line, anything. Just the experience of the tournament. Some of the ones I've been at are just great. They don't need to be all played on professional boards all on a line, like you see on TV. Like, you don't need that.
That's not how it started.
No, and I think it's still fun. I mean, I still think you can have a professional level experience without needing all of the bells and whistles and this and that. So, that piece of it. Sure. So we're back to players and player responsibility, which I think that we get loaded when we say responsibility, but should top players in the league be responsible for promoting the league that's giving them, in some ways, that platform that they're on?
I say absolutely. Yes, you should. PopDarts is brand new. It's so new. It's got so much potential of growth behind it, and we're not going to get there without the players. We're not going to get there without the elite players. And when you are an elite player in this league, like the Cole Hunters, the DJs, Colton and I, everybody up there that is, Luke and just all these guys, we do have a responsibility to promote the league, to conduct ourselves in a way that the league would appreciate, stay in line with, that kind of stuff, and just be brand ambassadors of PopDarts. You don't have to go out. You don't have to be running your own league. You don't have to be, organizing and getting all that stuff together, but just be aware that we are the top players in the league. Just like baseball has its top players, we are not near that kind of scale, but we are a sport and we are the top players, and we owe the fans everything, because we're not going to be here without the fans. Even if you're just a casual people watching the sport, we need those people. You don't have to play to enjoy PopDarts. It's a great game to watch, and the top players 100% owe it to the sport to promote. And
I think they do a nice job. So on that, I agree.
100%.
I think that they do a really good job, and I think they're very positive. They're very uplifting in public forums and in whether it be virtual league or just in person, watching them interact with new players, fans. They do an amazing job. The Grand Prix I got to watch, like I think I said the last episode, where like they're taking fan pictures, and they do a great job interacting with the fans.
Yeah.
So our top players really do a nice job of that. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that they have that platform, and because of the community we're in, it's really nice to see that they've taken advantage of that in such a positive way. So, kudos to those top players who are doing an excellent job. I mean, I really do believe that.
Yes. Huge thanks. Should leagues be responsible for helping players build their own brand or following?
That's how we're using that word. We're gonna beat this word up. Responsible again.
I know it. I know it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say no to the responsible, but yes to like giving them all the tools, giving them all the opportunities. Not only the tools, but the opportunities. I think that kind of falls into the responsibility of the league, and I think the league, myself, we value that piece of that. We want players to build their brand. We want to support players that build their brand. So those that see me and work with me, they see I tag them in everything I possibly can. I want to encourage them. I want them to be a big part of it. The league is trying to work, on getting those players out there and showing them off. So is it our responsibility? Our responsibility is to grow the league. And with that are the players. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a big deal. So, and I think part of it is, and I think what we're going to run into is some of the top players, and then like some of the players that maybe are working their way to the top, are growing to the top, want to be at the top, may go, well, they're not helping me or they're not growing me. And so the way that those players who are ascending, the way that those players who are ascending really get themselves, I guess, noticed and on the league's radar and growing in the way that they want to be seen within the league is whether that be their social medias. Like you said, you may not be at every league, every tournament, but you guys are still on your socials. Cathead Kid and Cathead Dad are great examples of just they grow that sport via their socials. They interact with so many people about the sport of Pop Darts. The other way is you grow leagues and you build players. When players know who you are because you have a pocket of 100 players in your area and you ascend to being one of the best, you get noticed. And those are not the only ways, but when players are like, I don't feel like I've gotten noticed, or I don't feel like I've gotten, it's hard. It's hard in an 8-man league where there's nobody close by. We're trying to help build that league with you. But those are the ways that if you feel like maybe, hey, I'm not getting seen as well as I should, those are ways that you can really grow your own brand and your own player profile, if you will, throughout the league and get the league to notice you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, here's a good one. All right, back to these elite players, and this doesn't even have to be a top player or a pro. Do elite players inspire the growth of the league and of new players, or do they accidentally scare new players away from the league?
I don't know that we are scaring players away yet. I think it's still too new to scare players away from the sport because of, a handful of guys that can throw darts pretty decent. As far as inspiring the player, as far as inspiring growth, absolutely. I think, we're out there, we're throwing darts, we're making the cool shots. That's what's getting people to watch. People aren't watching to see you get a dart 6 inches away. People are watching to see you land on top of that target. And that's what they want to see. And that's going to inspire them, because if they look into the sport, they realize that it is so new and none of us have been playing for a very long time. Most of us have been playing for less than a year. And so with knowing that, anybody can be a top player. Right now is prime time to not be scared away from this sport because you think you're not going to throw good enough darts. If you want to become something in the world of Pop Darts, right now is the time to get you a set and start throwing, because if you throw for a year, it's so easy. Anybody listening to this right now could be on ESPN 2027 on the main stage. Anybody.
Yes. And I'll even go as far as you guys kind of inspire them, even if it's like not, this gonna sound wrong, but it's not meant to be. Even if it's not always like the positive inspiration, maybe it's just I feel like I can do what that guy can do, maybe it's there's this like element of a lot. And that I don't feel like that's a negative thing. When I was in sports, I always felt like I could do it better than the guy across me. Otherwise, what are you doing? What are you doing in the race if you feel like the guy next to you is going to beat you? Like, it doesn't, it's not the mentality that good athletes and good, competitive people come into a sport with. So I love the whole What's he doing on there? I'm better than him. I can
Right.
be better.
I can do that.
That's a great mentality. It is a great, and I think you guys do. Again, I don't think you're trying to inspire that. And I've had pros that have off days, and they'll go and play in a big tournament, and people are like, "That guy, that's one of your top." But it's like he is, but like we aren't perfect every day. You know, it's not how that works. It's sports, man. Like if everybody could predict the outcome of every game on paper before the game, why play the game? Like
Exactly.
So I do. I think you guys do inspire. I will say, like on a league basis, sometimes people do watch you guys, and then when they try, they're like, "Whoa, that was harder." So I won't say that there's not some intimidation factor, but I don't think that elite players are scaring them away at this stage.
Sure. But you know, you look at it like baseball. You know, the kids are not going out to play baseball because they can't keep up with. I don't even know who top baseball players are right now. I don't keep up with baseball, but I'm gonna say like Derek Jeter. But you know, you know, they're not.
Harper
Kids
at
are
least
not
took the 2-run shot in the World Baseball Classic Championship. At least Harper he hit well down the stretch in the World Baseball Classic.
So yeah, so you know, kids aren't scared away from the sport because there's guys cranking out home runs every hit. So don't be afraid to grab a set of Pop-Darts and just throw them.
Yeah.
Because
and shout out to my Brewers. Shout out to my Brewers who played well. There's a lot of them that played well, and both from Venezuela that won it. We had 4 Brewers on that lineup, and Terang played well for U.S. all tournament. So it's cool to see.
Nice.
It's cool to see my small little Milwaukee Brewers representing at least. So shout out to the top Brewers playing well in the World Baseball Classic. And congrats, I guess, to Venezuela. This will be probably a little bit. Well, it won't be a full week old when that comes out. But congrats on your World Baseball.
That's awesome.
Championship. It's awesome. It was fun to watch.
Oh, here's a good one for you. How transparent should leagues be about finances, sponsorships, and payouts?
All right. So you put 3 things on there.
I did.
I'm going to answer the first one. Payouts. The payouts has got to be clear as day. You what the payouts are when you sign up, even if it's based on a percentage of entry, it needs to be clear as day. So if payouts are going to be X amount based on so many participants or based on so many, it has to be clear as day. Absolutely transparent. No excuse there's no changing of that. That's transparent. The rest of it really comes down to, and I'm going to ask I'll play the politics on this one, and I'll answer a question with a question. When it comes to finances and sponsorships, everybody is going, do you want to know all the details? Do you want to know what a paperclip cost and that, that these folders cost something? And the truth is the average player doesn't want to know that because they're going to start hyperfixating and they're going to start being like, I could have gotten a paperclip cheaper here, or, I could have gotten I'll just name a whole bunch, the floor or the banner and they don't take into account that, we had a floor, but it got damaged and we needed to get something, so nobody's going to know all the details. So when it comes to being transparent about finances, sponsorships, things like that, you need to trust in the organization that they're doing the best with those funds that they possibly can. Outside of that, I think those kind of details are just, they should be non-issues. It's not something players vote on. It's not something players, have a say in. On the flip side too, guys, and I guess if we're going controversial on things, people don't start businesses and leagues and all of this stuff to lose money. They don't start this, for the players and even the fans. And again, I'm not trying to be super jerk. This is facts. Jerry Jones didn't get rich because the Dallas Cowboys were a pot of money that he kept pouring into. What the last sale, or no, the sale of the Seattle Seahawks is going to be something like $8 billion or $7.8 billion. These things were bought 20 years ago for millions. So
yeah, it's unreal.
Guys, it's about making money. So as a player and a fan, are you going to be happy to know where every one of those dollars goes and that they actually made money at the end of the day? Or are you going to say, hey, I want more of that money poured? You're always going to want more of that money poured in you. So you just got to trust that they're doing a good job. And the feasibility and being able to take money out of the league is important for the people running the league to be able to keep their lights on and keep, their families fed while they do this work for you guys. So I think that that's a great question. And I'll use my dad always said it. You can live your life, you can know everything, or you can be happy, but you cannot be both. So for those of you that, ignorance, another way of looking at ignorance is bliss, but just trust in the league and understand that the league is, got your best interests in mind, and that you don't need to know that information. It's not information that's, that's needed to, be known. And look around a little bit. The leagues are paying out awesome, percentages. These venues are doing amazing things for you guys. Every time I turn around, an organizer of venue is like, oh, I get it. That $25 a year can be a burden to get into the league. We'll just wipe entry this week so that you can afford that. And then next week you'll pay. So that's the venue. That's your people. That's everybody around the league and associated with the league that are going out there and doing extra for the players. So that would be my, big, take away from that. Anytime you start talking money, people will get emotional, excitable.
Sure.
But I feel like the bigger element is trust. Do you trust the guys that are running what it's doing and how it's doing? And if you are, let them cook. Let them do what they're doing. So
and if there's something that they're doing that you don't like, go start your own league.
Yeah, and it's. Well, you'll find out it's difficult. It's hard.
Right.
There's a lot of things that are going on. It's also not, and we've talked about this a lot over the last couple of weeks, and I think this is going to become the theme of this season. I just, between you and me, where the PopDarts as a sport was at the beginning of this season, episode 1, and where it is by episode 12, I don't know that we have any idea what's coming. And that's how much it's not a stagnant point in time, guys. There is constant growth, constant fluctuation. Our average views on ESPN related content right now are in the 300 million.
Yeah.
Like, what happens to a league, when all of a sudden that happens? The last time there was 0 current organizers running leagues. The last time were on ESPN, we hadn't even kicked off our season. So I guess we might've had a couple samples running the sample season with me, but 0 actual official. Now there's, 40, 50 moving on, organizers running leagues and what happens when ESPN sees that? And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there are leagues near me. There are, this kind of stuff. We don't know where it's going. So that's
going up.
Yeah. Yes. Up. I think that's great. Here's a good one. Should players be expected to share league content on their social medias to help grow the sport?
So if it's league content, I believe that the league has the responsibility to share that any kind of footage to help grow the sport. But as far as the players, I wouldn't expect every player to start their own PopDarts type page or to even post PopDart videos on their own social media. Everybody's got different different ideas of what they want their social media to be, if they're even very active on social media. We've got a lot of players that aren't even active on social media. But I do think that the league itself, the organizer for individual tournaments, is responsible to share some info, whether it's, the very least you can do is show a podium picture, and maybe a couple highlight shots. But if you can get some great little viral clips out of there, why wouldn't you want to throw them on there? You never know what could happen. You could get some great views and really help grow the sport, because the leagues are what we need to grow the sport.
I like your answer to that question a lot. I was hoping that it wasn't going to just keep going yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. I think that answer is genuine. And my follow-up to it is very, very short and very, very sweet. Your social media is supposed to be a reflection of who you are. Share what you like. Share what you think is funny, what you think is awesome. It doesn't, just because you're a player in this league does not preclude, you are not, I don't think you should be expected. I don't think you should be. I just don't. That's just, and this is coming from the guy that would love if you did, but no. if it's being disingenuous to who you are and what you would normally do, you don't have to post. You don't have to do that. So that's I was really happy with your response on that. I think that's genuinely the case. Like, you're gonna see me post, it's cold here. There's a lot of PopDarts in my life. I'm traveling a lot. You're gonna see a lot of that. You're gonna watch my personal page change to clips of me on my golf cart during the summer, driving around the campground, pictures of my kids swimming or the pool bar, full of people having a good time. Like, why? I'm going to stay true to myself. I would tell everybody to do the same.
100%.
Your page. So that was a good answer. That was probably my favorite one so far that we've gotten, that we've grown into. I like it.
Cool. Let's see if we can beat it. All right. If a league, if a league wants players to promote it, should it also promote the players? Kind of a good follow up to that.
Yeah, and I think the answer is the exact same. So I won't dive too much more into it, but the same as I said before. If you feel like you're not getting promoted enough by the league, that's an internal question. Ask why. Ask yourself why. And again, I'm not taking shots at anybody, but either you're not promoting yourself in a way that is PopDarts positive and positive to the league, or there's just not enough like data and players and activity in your area to be doing mass promotion. So I'd argue to see a lot of those guys that are on these social medias have clubs that are in the 20s, have clubs that are growing, some of these guys are getting to the point where they have different nights of the week, 3-4 nights of the week in the same town.
Wow.
So that's why you're seeing those guys, because it's not like, hey, they played one night and they get all this coverage. These guys going to work. So that would be my kind of gut on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny. It's in the players category, but I wonder if it's more of a league question, but I like that it's for the players.
Okay.
What matters more for growing a league? Building elite competition or welcoming the casual players?
I think welcoming the casual players definitely takes precedent over building the elite competition, because by welcoming the casual players, you are going to create the elite competition. So, again, back to this sport being so new, most people have never seen it. Even more than that, have never held a pop dart. So you have to get those casual players in, because if you get 1 out of 5 to stick with the league, that's a success, in my opinion. That's 20% of the players you're bringing in are sticking with it. Starting out like this, so fresh, I think that's good numbers. It's numbers. It doesn't have to be good numbers right now. It just has to be numbers. And those casual players, we all started as casual players. Nobody started out. ESPN was not my first round of pop darts, So yeah, absolutely. You got to be welcome to the casual players, and the elite competition that is created of those casual players has to also welcome the casual players and show them, not necessarily show them mercy in the game, but show them, if nothing else, while you're out there playing with them and they're struggling, you can see it, give them some tips. If it's that kind of
I'm going to interrupt you and just replace the word. No, there's a word at the tip of your tongue. I don't think mercy. Well, I don't think mercy is the word. I think class. I think that's more because there's a difference between mercy and class. You could play someone and be kind of classless, and you could play someone and do it in a classy manner. And at least other than that one word, I've got nothing to add to your response. I think that's even if a league grows to be thousands and thousands of thousands, the elite competition will get better, but it will still be the top 10% of the league. It will still be the top. It'll always work its way to the top. The casual player is, if you have hundreds, the casual players in the tens, and that still means 90% of the league is a casual player. You get to the thousands, now you're talking thousands of casual. You have the only correct response to that one, and that's a. I mean, it's good insight to why, but it's the casual player, and growing that casual player is by and large the goal of this league, and should be the goal of any league anywhere. That's a great. It's a great take. So,
good deal. Yeah, for sure. All right, so. Kind of back on this, what matters more for a league, growth or taking care of the current player base?
I'm going to argue to say that growing a league is taking care of the current player base.
I completely agree.
In some fashion. I do believe in taking care of the current player base. This is not this isn't a one-time fee and then you're in. To get any league, people need to show up every week. So if you're not doing something in the present, why would somebody show up next week? It just doesn't make any sense. So I would say it's taking care of the current player base. I will say that in of itself is not enough to grow a league. So you can make arguments, if you take care of the current player base, the league will not. Yeah, in slow time, in enough time, it eventually will. But I think growth is important, but taking care of the current player base would rank up there a little bit higher for me, making sure that they feel valued. And that's something I have talked, you and I talked a little bit off camera beforehand, to a lot of players lately, that we have to do a better job of communicating as a small league. And this is something I will wear 100% on me and me alone. This is not a Josh, this is not a Jason, this is not a PopDarts. This is a me thing. Is we have built so much, and we have not communicated a lot of that to the general population. And that is something that I'm really looking to improve on and change in a very short period of time, which is, what are the benefits to being a member? What are the steps that players can go, whether it be to grow the casual game in their area, and, for that one or two players that emerge, to grow that competitive side. And that's on me. And I will tell everybody listening and those not, that is something that we have to improve on. And by we have to get that out there where it's easily accessible information to people that don't know anything about PopDarts on where to go, what to do, how to do it. So stay tuned on some of that, because as with anybody, that's a huge area of improvement that I have to personally make, and make big strides so that we can not only take care of the current base, but get this base that's on like the fringe to be like, yeah, of course I want to be, a member of the APL. It just makes sense. Right. And that's a big, we call it a big whiff on the side of the league. As long as you guys understand that whiff is on me personally and not like the league as a general, so that's a big one. Ooh, here's a good one. If a league is struggling to grow in a city, or I'll even say stagnates out, should players look inward, or should they be blaming their organizers, or let's say the league organizers league?
If a league is struggling to grow, I think
it's stagnant.
Yeah, I think that the organizer has a little more responsibility than the players on that. I think the organizer needs to do a better job of promoting, whether it's just getting social media pages, wherever the venue is that they're playing, get some better advertisement up there, get people talking about it. If you're playing at a bar, give the bar 2 sets of PopDarts, and so that people can leave them out on the on the back bar, and if somebody asks what they are, let them play with them for a little bit, just like they're going over to the dartboard. No different. Let them play with the house PopDarts, and that's going to help to grow that league. And the players looking inward, I really find it hard to believe that. I don't think that it's the players, especially the casual players' responsibility to help grow. If they're just, there's guys out there that are just shy guys, maybe, that just want to come around and play PopDarts once a week, and they don't really want to throw it on their social media. They don't want to promote it. They just want to show up. They have a good time. So I really put that responsibility more on the organizer to keep that league afloat and thriving.
I'm gonna disagree with a lot of agreement in what you said.
Okay.
I do think that they should look inward a little bit. And the reason I'm going to say that, or take that mentality, and you almost talked me out of it with the last, okay, casual player may just want to show up and play, which is valuable. It's valuable in and of itself. And I don't want to shy those people away by saying, if you can't recruit 10 other people, we're not a pyramid scheme. It's not
right.
It's set up to be. So you almost had me off of it, but I do think that players can look a little bit around. It's an organizer, whether that be a good organizer or a bad organizer or a league, regardless of what it is only one person. And I look at such small impacts that one person can make when they're in a big group. So if that league has 10 people or 8 people, that organizer may be doing their best. But
sure,
if all 8 of them just kind of looked out, and even if let's say half of them are, like you said, they don't have that personality, it's not what they do, and the other half invite a person or bring somebody. I keep looking at the different circles that we all come from. So PopDarts is what connects us. But if you look at the league circles and you think, okay, I met that guy from PopDarts, but he's got 3 coworkers that I would never meet otherwise. If he says, hey, come on down, and one of them does. If so-and-so was like me, a softball player, and brings 4 of their softball buddies down, they may not have ever met them before, except for I brought them in, to that PopDarts circle. I just think that piece of it does become a player thing. When we can branch out, if you look at any one of these different leagues, no matter the size, and branch out to their communities, maybe not all of them want to, maybe not all of them like that, but what you will do is you're going to help that organizer, because that organizer is doing their best. I promise you, organizers come to me all the time and be like, we grew and we've sat at 8. Grew and we've sat at 8, and we just can't get past 8. And then they'll even do the thing where they grow to 12, but get 8 to show up. So then they get 4 that just kind of come and go. And all of this is okay, guys. I just say, as a player, look inward a little bit. Don't make it so it's not fun. If it gives you anxiety to talk to, your coworkers about gummy, don't do that.
Right.
But there are a lot of people who, laziness is not, getting anxiety over something is different than being lazy. And I would venture to say there are some players who, if they internally looked at themselves, they'd go, it's not my comfort zone. It's my effort that I've put into this, and that's okay. I do think looking inward a little bit would be huge. I have made it a mission to hold both organizers and venues a lot more accountable. I get a lot of venues that let us in and say, there's just not a lot of people showing up. And I'm like, all right, what happens when you run a concert here at this venue? Do you just post on social media once, or do you not tell anybody and just tell the musician to what's your policy? Well, we have an email list and we do this and we do this and they give me all, and I'm like, and did you do that for us? Did you send out that list to everybody? Did you tell them what we were and what's going on and where? And when the answer is no, then you can be like, all right, there's an accountability issue here. It's not failing simply, and it's not failing at all, but it's stagnant because we're not seeing the same effort you'd put into some of your other, activities and some of your other, pieces. So that's where I think looking inward at every level, the league needs to do it. Organizers need to do it. I would just say the players do too. And to your point, where I do agree with you is, the burden falls more on an organizer in a league. Absolutely. I just don't think a player can necessarily get away with being like, okay, my league is stagnant, but I've invited nobody, or I've done, I've done it all. So you gotta.
Yeah. Throwing one social media post out there is not enough to build a league in your area. You've got to do more work than that.
Well, and again, guys, we're not saying be like, if it's something you love, you look to build it. If it's something you love, you go and you want to do it. If you cook something for a living, like you do, or if you play a musical instrument, you are passionate about that and you share that with other people. If you're the same with PopDarts, this is your opportunity to share it with other people. Not everybody's going to understand it, but like so many people that are now playing every week, they never thought in a million years they'd pick up a PopDart until XYZ, who I don't know, came to him and said, check this out, I love it.
Right.
Now look at them. They're at the league every single week.
Right.
So that's my take on it.
Good take. Next question. Should leagues invest in content and media coverage to highlight players?
Yeah, I mean, now, I, when you put highlight players, they got to highlight the league. They got to highlight what the league is more than one player always will be. That's just, it's incredibly important for people to understand. It doesn't sustain if it is about just one person.
Right.
So, but the players are a part of the league, and I think that's a big, boy, any professional sport. This is the $1 million argument: is the players make the league, but then the owners are like, but that's players with an S, and it's a lot of you, and there's a lot that goes on. So when this player is not happy that player got the coverage or that they didn't, it's a whole league as a whole. So the answer is yes, with that kind of caveat that it's got to be in the best interest of what the league is looking to promote and what the league is trying to put out there. So I would say.
And when you say invest, that doesn't mean a money investment. It could be just a time investment, just a little bit of your time to help to highlight what's going on. So,
and I think it's also all the stuff that money maybe that they didn't see from the financial report we talked about earlier. So the time in building systems, the time in putting assets in place and building things around them, and the time put into like an ESPN program and broadcast, the time put into the people who are spending time teaching these organizers and growing these organizers. All of that is being invested in the players. Maybe not they're handing the players, $1, but yes, it's all time being, put into to new players. I got this question here and I laughed when I wrote this, and I also laughed because a lot of people in my circle, if I know that I'll talk Packers till I'm blue in the face, and this is the old Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers question and dilemma. So you don't know what I'm talking about, but every Green Bay fan out there knows exactly what I'm about to say. Should top players be responsible for mentoring new players, putting them under their wing, or is that just simply not their job? As Brett Favre said, I'm here to play. I'm not here to mentor him. I'm not here to get him ready to replace me.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. It's not your job as a top player to mentor the new players. But I mean, if you're a decent person, why wouldn't you want to? I don't know a better way I don't know exactly the way to say it, but why wouldn't, I love teaching people how to play pop darts. It's fun, and it's hilarious. What, the best is when you can transition a player from a tomahawk throw to a straight throw. And if you can't get some enjoyment out of that, what are you even doing in the sport? Just being able to teach somebody to throw properly, because we know the little, you just got to hold it in a different spot. Some people hold it way too far back or too far forward, causes that tomahawk that we all hate. And it's just, you just sometimes need a little coaching and a little bit of mentoring. And it's not, as long as it's not affecting your game personally, which I don't even know how it would, but just, if somebody comes in and needs some help, give them some tips, help them out, show them what they're doing wrong, show them what they need to do right. But again, it's not your job. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. It's just, if you want to.
So many times today, I think I said, like, you got to do what's natural to you.
Right.
That if you're a player who is, if you're not like you and me, and not like, I use Cole Hunter as one of the examples, or Luke and DJ, you are not Chatty Cathy's. You're not super outgoing. You're not like a lot of us are. It's okay to not feel obligated to go out of your skin. If you're somebody that is very internal, very focused on your game, and that's how you are as a person, no, it's not your job. And I don't look down on you for not doing it. You have to be true to who you guys are as players, and you're good people. I've met a couple of you players that are like that.
Yeah, I didn't mean that if you don't mentor, you're a bad person. You're exactly right.
I just wanted to say this is like, it's not like some of the players watching out there. I don't think, it's not your job. If it's natural to you and it feels good, but again, it's not, I don't think that's good, bad, and otherwise. There's other ways for you to, contribute to the sport. And I don't think I've seen anybody, even if they're not naturally outgoing, that is rude, or that I don't have time for that. Like, I don't see that. I just meant some of us, if you like, I was watching film of when we're at the Grand Prix and he's like, but some of us go through just, we're natural coaches and fathers and, you know, and people that's what we do. But for some, it's not so natural. So no, not your job, but like this community is built off of people that, you know, that give back to it and give back to, you know, that next, you know, I guess tier of players, or not tier of players, but generation of players, if you will.
Sure.
So.
All right. When a player becomes a star, does the league owe them more support?
Owe them, no. Be foolish to not give it to them.
Right.
I don't, this is going to sound, I mean, after answering a question earlier about what does the league owe its players, and I said a lot, the flip side of that is the league doesn't owe any one particular player anything. And that, correct. I think that may be a very controversial statement, but the league owes any individual within the league absolutely nothing. And it's that mentality that I think gets some players upset with the league and think that the league doesn't care about the players. Mm-hmm. No, the league cares very much about players, and I think it should, and it owes the players a lot.
Right.
Does it owe any one particular player anything? My answer to that is absolutely it does not. And I think that players earn that support, and stars in this league tend to be that of the kind, fun, competitive nature who just naturally are fun to support and build up. But yeah, there's if the word player does not have an S at the end of it, I think the league owes them absolutely nothing.
I agree. Yeah.
Oh, do players underestimate how much energy organizers put in behind the scenes?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Not every player underestimates, but most players do. Nobody. You walk into a KC Hall at at 7:00 and everything's set up, ready to go. You just got to grab your darts and start throwing. That took hours to set up. So many hours. So much time, so much effort. Not just one person can. I mean, one person can do it, but man, you're really talking some work. Every single little aspect, somebody had to do it. From setting up the scoreholio to setting up the tables, which we all know that those can be a little bit challenging sometimes, lining up those table legs on the bottom of the tables. That's just a little stuff. Yes, everything takes time and work, and you walk in, the tape lines are perfect, the boxes are right where they're supposed to be. It doesn't just happen. You don't just drop one of those on the floor and it happens. You got to measure things out. There's a lot of work that goes into behind the scenes. So short answer, yes, players underestimate.
I don't think that there's one thing I could disagree. Yeah. And I think they all, other than the fact that they always will.
Right. And that's okay.
Yeah, no, they're different. They're different roles. We celebrate our organizers. I think episode 6 is all about the day in the life of an organizer. So that's going to be, eye-opening for probably some of you that have just played and not organized and ran your own leagues, but yeah, I really have nothing to add. Yes, absolutely, the player does. It's a lot.
And again, it's okay to underestimate. You walk into a baseball game, a major league baseball game, look at all the work it took to put that together. It's totally different scale, but it's the same idea. And
well, you're in construction, so you rarely drive by something that you did on the exterior of a house and don't tell your family, your kids and wife know what I'm talking about. I built that, or I did that, or you have no idea how hard it was to get the ladder here. To which my wife is like, I don't care. Like,
I almost fell off that roof.
Yeah, it's a house, sweetheart. Like, thank you. Like, but yep, same thing with the league. Like, did you see that table I set up? The players are gonna be like, I don't care. Like,
right? Yeah, it was where it's supposed to be.
Shout out to Mark. Mark levels his lanes with a laser. Oh,
I know. I saw that. That's awesome.
And I love everything about that. And it's just like, but I could see the casual player or Mark's wife going, I don't care, sweetheart. Thank you. Like, thank,
Right.
thank you. It looks great, sweetheart. Like, it looks awesome. Like, so, but that's that. Yeah, you're right. They aren't. So,
Yeah.
oh, should we jump into these quick fire mailbags to wrap up this episode?
Love it. Yes.
All right. We got 4 of them here in the mailbag. We can both keep real nice, short, quick fire answers on here. I'll fire with number 1. Are leagues too soft on the top players?
Too soft? I don't think so. You know, as a top player myself, the leagues aren't too soft. No, not at all. They're equal. It's an even playing field. I don't expect anything more than a guy that walks in for the first time.
Yeah, I think the wording of this one makes it so that I have to agree with you. Too soft is not. No, I don't think too soft. You say something like, "Are they soft on them?" Sure, but we're soft on the regular players. We're a new league, we're a growing league. I don't think we're hard on anybody. But too soft, no. Is social media now required for modern athletes? So not even just PopDarts, but modern athletes.
It's not required. No, not at all. But if you want to be recognized, I don't know how else you're going to. Nobody can just afford a spot on primetime TV. So social media is the easiest, cheapest way to get your face and name out there. And, it's virtually free. So is it required? No. But if you want to move up in the sport and be known, then I think yes. If you want to be an elite athlete, I think it is almost a requirement.
I'll say modern athletes in general, no, but it's very difficult. And I'm just using all sports in general, for that answer. It's very difficult. A PopDarts athlete, I would argue to say it's absolutely required. And I'm not saying that from where are you going to find it otherwise? Where are you going to find where to go to play? Where are you going to find, these tournaments? Where are you it's on social media. So I would say, if in the PopDarts realm, absolutely. If you're talking like professional baseball, like sure you can, but then you're killing your brand. You're killing you as an athlete, become your own brand. You become your own, entity. I mean, it's like, you become your own, like in some way, shape, and form, like as goofy as it may be, you become your own brand. And I think all athletes should embrace that. I want to see this one. Biggest threat to league growth. Is that ego or is it apathy?
Man, that could go both ways, but I think ego could be more of a threat because you start getting guys in the league that are, the cocky guys that are just, with the huge egos. Everybody knows the guys with huge egos. They can deter people from wanting to play in your local league. If you've got one or even worse, 2 guys like that, they can ruin a league. I think as far as the apathy, I don't think that's a threat. I don't know. What's your take on the apathy part?
I'm going to say that apathy is the biggest threat to league growth. And it's not necessarily, it's just when people stop caring. I think PopDarts is about the excitement. I think it's about that cool shot, that cheer, that I watch it in every league all over the place. And I think it's what people like, they stop and like, what was that? Like, what was that I just witnessed and that I was a part, like, what was that? When that dies and everybody's like, it was another T-Nobber. I think that's the threat.
Right.
It's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It's not, there's not appeal to it. Ego can hurt it, but ego also breeds competition. You're going to have some level of ego with all good players. So I would say growth, I'd go apathy, but I also understand what you're saying, especially on the what do you want to call them? The front lines.
Right.
A poor ego can kill a league big time, especially a small
league.
Yeah, especially a small league. All right. The last one to end it. And
let me throw this one at you.
Yeah.
Because you're a little more in this position than I am right now. So are leagues doing enough to listen to the players?
I will answer it in one sentence. I will say yes, but we can always do more. that would be my yes.
Okay, good answer. I mean, the few leagues that I played in, you've ran all of them, so I've got no complaints. But I can definitely see where some leagues could have issues with listening to their players, but I think for overall everybody, all the leagues out there right now are running pretty successfully.
Yeah, I think so. And as a player, there's a couple things. If you don't feel like you're being listened to, I mean, twofold. One, just know that I've never met an organizer that doesn't want player impact or input and feedback. So part of me is like, maybe look at again internally. Maybe this would be my focus to all players out there at the end of this episode, is focus internally a little bit and say, is my approach working? Am I doing this, in a positive manner? Am I doing it at a good time? When he's trying to check in 20 players is not the time to probably tell him that you didn't like, the way he handled something last week at league. So I would say kind of look internally and keep reaching out. We are listening. At least I try to listen. I like feedback. I want to grow. So my answer, I do think they are. And I think we can always get better at it. But
there's always room for improvement, but I think the leagues are doing a fantastic job.
I think so too. And I think it's a great transition. So I'm looking forward to next week. It's a great transition to next week. We're going to focus on organizers. We're going to focus on what they have to say, what they have, to do. I've got a little bit of a surprise for you on that one, but cool. I think I'm going to do, instead of bringing an interview, I think I'm going to do like 5 interviews where we more or less I'm going to ask the same question to 5 different, organizers and just ask them what, and maybe 2 questions, but what do they struggle with the most, as being an organizer, and what do they wish players knew, like what do they wish the players knew from an organizer perspective? And I think you and I can watch those videos and digest and talk about it. It'll give us a lot of really good insight into the minds of some of the organizers who are just absolutely pivotal in growing our sport. So
right. That's awesome. Looking forward to that one.
That'd be a cool little, change of pace. You get to hear and see some people. Of course, it's always a good change of pace when you get to hear or see people that aren't us. So let's call it there, guys. Episode 5, season 2, episode 5. If you don't have PopDarts yet, go to popdartsgame.com. Jeez. Go to Dick's Sporting Goods. They got them there now. They're starting to pop up. So get out there, get you some darts, and start throwing some darts. And what's your discount code for those guys? Is it The Prodigy or is it Prodigy?
It is the Prodigy. Yes.
The Prodigy. So that'll get you guys. That'll
save you 20%.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's a really cool discount code, and Mr. T's got to catch me this month.
It gets you a pro pack for $28 with that code.
Nice.
That's hard to beat.
Nice. So until next time, guys, we'll see you again next week. We appreciate everything.
Bye.
Bye.
That's another round of What's Poppin', the most satisfying sports podcast in the world, with Mr. T and the Commish. The only place where suction cups and smack talk collide. Follow the madness on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at What's Poppin' Podcast. And catch every episode wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, keep your aim tight and your suction strong.